Welcome to Outdoor Odyssey. My name is Jones. I am the founder and the executive director as a volunteer for Outdoor Odyssey. My background is that I was fortunate enough that I was on probation for the second time. That somebody grabbed me and reminded me the quota for punks had already been filled. That individual that reminded me of that actually went on to mentor me and actually put me in his car, drove me to his college that he went to, and I went to that college and I promised him I would stay in school. I got a brother that didn't finish high school, and our lives have been just like this. So obviously I was mentored, I was helped, I was assisted, and I got what I didn't deserve. By the grace of that guy and the grace of God, I was helped. I live in a rooming house with a bunch of guys, one of whom had been a quarterback of the football team. And in spring, right before spring football started, he up and joined the Marine Corps. And he came back to our house in Charleston, Illinois, and asked me to go. He had 3 or 4 guys were going to go with him, and I almost did, but I didn't because of a promise I made to a guy named Jerry Zachary. My friend went off, and he died within a year of being a Marine in Mike 3-1, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines in Vietnam. So when I graduated from college, it wasn't altruism and it wasn't patriotism. I joined the Marine Corps. I went down and joined the Marine Corps for 2 years. Then you could. And by a stroke of luck, they found out that I was a college graduate, and I got vectored into OCS. I probably didn't even know how to spell lieutenant. I became one, and it changed my life. I joined the Marine Corps for 2 years, and then spent over 3 decades. And obviously, the byproduct of that is this. About 10 years into I was an infantry guy. About 10 years into my first deployment was Vietnam as a platoon commander. When I came back from Vietnam, I was sure I was going to get out of the Marine Corps. I was in Camp Lejeune. An individual in that battalion wasn't even a battalion commander or the executive officer. He was a company commander, Major Select. His name is Tony Zenny. Some of you may have read about him. He went on to be a 4-star of some renown. And because of him, I stayed around for a while. And like a lot of Marines, I kind of caught the fever. And I liked what I was doing. And about 8 years into my Marine Corps career, I got sent to the British Commandos for 2 years. When I came back from that tour with the Commandos, I had this dream. And that's why I asked you about your dream. Life's about dreams. And it's about dreams, not hallucinations. It's about dreams. About doing something with a dream. I wanted to start a camp for kids. I wanted to prevent me. I want to be a Smokey the Bear type camp. You know Smokey the Bear? He prevents forest fires. I wanted to prevent me. And the way my Marine Corps career went, every time I would get serious about it, it's another thing, and they'd dangle something else, and I'd go with it. I wanted to be a battalion commander. I was a battalion commander, and I deployed for about a year in the desert. I selected for colonel, I stayed around, then I got a regiment, and then I was going to get out, then I became the director of a school I was a faculty advisor for earlier in my life, then the Marine Corps, who does not have a sense of humor. The Marine Corps has absolutely no sense of humor. It had a quarter for sense of humor, and they selected me for Brigadier General. And I hadn't been a Brigadier General for a month when a guy called me about this property. This was a scout camp for 40-some years. And so they were trying to get rid of the property. There I come in. My wife's brother, blue-collar guy, he can fix anything. He was up here cutting firewood. They let the community cut firewood up here. And he would say, hey, my brother-in-law has always been talking about a camp. Why don't you call him and see what they're looking for, somebody to take the $250,000 debt they had off their hands. So when I got promoted to Brigadier General, I was put in the Pentagon. It was a job an orangutan could do. It wouldn't even be a smart orangutan, just an orangutan. I always wanted a general officer on duty, 24 hours, 365, you know. That's what I was running all those teams at National Military Command Center. So the guy calls my house one night, my wife answers the phone, and she said, well, he's in the Pentagon now on duty right now, on night duty. Oh my gosh, I can't bother him there. You know, the guy thinks Pentagon, oh my gosh, they must be doing something really serious. Call him, he'd be glad to talk to you. So a guy called me, and I said, God, if you'd have called me a year ago, I'd have jumped this chance. But now I owe the Marine Corps 3 years. I'm a brand new brigadier general. I owe the Marine Corps 3 years. And so a month later, this is how God works. A month later, my wife's dad, a Iwo Jima vet, had gone blind. They live in a 3-story house in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and it's like the north face of Iger walking up the stairs. So they built him a little ranch house, 1-level house, and out next to Nancy's brother, my wife's brother. So we moved him in. I'm not a guy that sits around well. So I said, I'm going to go up and look at that property. And my father-in-law, who's now deceased, said, you'll never find it. I said, holy smokes. I was a Marine for so many years, I think I'll find it. So I got out there and I parked my car in the front gate. They had a big gate. You couldn't get in property. And I got around like a little kid. Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. I walk in this building here, a big hole in the ceiling. We didn't have a wooden ceiling, it was just steel beams, concrete floor. There was I can't remember now, it was an owl in one corner and a dead possum in the other corner. A great big hole in the roof and a lot of debris. But I thought, oh my God, there was 2 fireplaces. Wow, that's much more than I ever thought I'd have. I started running around. I counted about 25 cabins. There was only 9. I must have been running around in circles a lot. So I got back and over the weekend I prayed and I called the guy on Monday and said, hey, put me in, coach. I can do this. I can tread water for 3 years. He said, not so fast. There's 4 nonprofits now competing for this property. And so you Marines, how many Marines? Put your hands in the air, Marines. You Marines know what SMEAC is. I wrote a SMEAC. Most people who go to work every day don't have a plan. 85% of people don't have goals. If you don't have goals, you don't have a plan. So most people don't have a plan. So I was sitting there, I wrote the SMEAC, and it sounded like I really had myself together. And I ended up with the property. So my deal was for 5 years, I'm going to pay you $50,000 for 5 years, and I was able to get support after a while. Miss Nancy and myself became the first investors. She didn't know that for 3 or 4 or 5 months. In any event, my dream was this. I wanted to prevent me. I wanted to form a compact with schools, which we've done with 28 school districts. I'm going to recruit high school kids to be mentors, teach them leadership, then marry them up with a munchkin or munchkinette. And hopefully a couple munchkins or munchkinettes. That way you can have vertical bonding and horizontal bonding. And eyeball to eyeball and kneecap to kneecap here. Because you can't go heart to heart and soul to soul unless you go eyeball to eyeball and kneecap to kneecap. Part of our problem in society today, we live by our phones and our internet, and we don't go eyeball to eyeball and kneecap to kneecap. I can't make you feel like I care for you if I don't look you in the eyes and show you I care for you, yes or no? So in any event, I had a lot of one-on-one time with a commandant, brand new commandant. And the way back, the last trip back from San Francisco, Travis Air Force Base into Andrews Air Force Base, he gives me a tasker. He said, I want you to give me a plan for pulling training and education together. And I want you to brief it to the General Officer Symposium. Be with me now. Hoorah! Hoorah! That's the Marine Corps saying. If you know that word, you could be a spy on any Marine Corps base. I'm serious. Think about it, Marines. You could go anywhere not only knowing hoorah. If you're a soldier, it's hooah. If you're a sailor, it's give me a drink of coffee. If you're Air Force, it's for. But anyway, hoorah. Aha. Ah. My job this week, I prayed about this morning. I want you to have an aha moment. I want you to have an aha moment. And if you have an aha moment, I'll guarantee you, you'll feel it. Ah, palpable. That's what I'm after. That's what I'm after. That's my mission this week. Hoorah? Hoorah. Uh-huh. Ah. I feel it's palpable. I'm feeling good already. Now here's the deal. This is not a mental fitness seminar, but we're all about mental fitness because mental fitness is all about life. I spent many years in the Marine with the same program on mental health. In any event, You know, my whole career in the Marine Corps, my first day, my last day in the Marine Corps, Suck It Up was our program for mental health. Suck it up. I was mentally tough. I was mentally tough. But that's a charade. That's a facade. I can be tough in the Marines. I can be tough as a soldier. I can be tough in a school system if I pretend I am, but when I walk away, I'm not. That's mental fitness we didn't have. And so when I started sessions with wounded warriors up here, and first they were all catastrophically wounded, the first 20 sessions, so all catastrophically wounded from Iraq or Afghanistan. I'd already been on active duty 4 years with the wars in both those nations, so I had a really good feel for what was taking place as a commanding general. But then I started learning how wrong we were. So we got into mental fitness. So rather than mental toughness, well, you can pretend that, and you can get mental toughness with the camaraderie of other people. And a lot of us did not have a strong window of tolerance we're going to talk about, but through the love and effect of other people around you. I was an infantry guy, man. I mean, my gosh, one of my company commanders when I was a battalion commander was here at Pakanowski. How much more honor can you have and have one of your company commanders with you on this thing? I mean, you can feel the love of each other people. We never talk about love, but you can feel it. So you can be mentally tough when you're not even mentally fit. But now, it's okay not to be okay. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. But it's not okay to stay that way. It's not okay to stay that way. Because if you stay that way, then you're going to affect every student you impact in school. You're going to affect everybody in your family. You're going to affect everybody in your dreams are going to be affected by your stress. Now, we didn't get off to a real good start here. Many people here today don't know that. Some of these guys didn't get in until 3 o'clock this morning. Some of them didn't get in about midnight. The water heater in the doggone Mon decided it's going to blow up over the weekend. So you get up this morning and you get a cold shower. That's not a good way to start. Physical fitness is linear. Even an old man like me, if I do push-ups the rest of the week, I'm going to do more push-ups on Saturday than I'm due on Monday. Fair enough? Fair. But mental fitness is not that way. When I leave California, I'm going to go to this retreat. Now I find out I'm going to do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I get down there at 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up in the morning, I figure I'm going to get me a really nice cold shower to invigorate me. Those are things, those stresses that come in your life that show that stress is not, mental fitness is not linear. But we're going to talk about a lot more about than mental fitness. I'm going to talk to you today.